From Copps Coliseum in Hamilton, the Labatt Canada Cup. Tonight, Canada and the Soviet Union. This is the one hockey fans in this country have been waiting for. No matter what's at stake, every time these two nations hook up in hockey, it provides all kinds of excitement coast to coast. And what's at stake tonight is first place in the round-robin portion of this tournament. Earlier today, 2 games played. Sweden clinched a playoff berth with a big win over the Finns. The Czechs did the same as they beat the United States.
Welcome back to the Copps Coliseum in Hamilton, the Soviet Union and Canada. First place at stake in the round-robin standings here. And what this means is if Canada wins or ties, they finish first and would play Czechoslovakia. If they lose, then the Soviets would play Czechoslovakia and Canada would beat Sweden in the semifinals. Let's go to the ice service and the pregame ceremonies.
First, Team Soviet Union, l'équipe de l'Union soviétique. Dans les filets, in the nets, number 20, numéro 20, Eugenie Boleshikin. En défense, à la défense, number 2, numéro 2, Vyacheslav Fetisov. Number 7, le numéro 7, Alexei Kasatonov. At center, au centre, number 11, numéro 11, Igor Larionov. At right wing, à l'aile droite, number 9, numéro 9, Vladimir Krutov. À l'aile gauche, at left wing, le numéro 24, number 24, Sergei Makarov. The head coach, l'entraîneur-chef, Mr. Viktor Tikhonov. The assistant coaches, les entraîneurs adjoints, Igor Dmitriev et Vladimir Yorzinov. And now, the starting lineup for Team Canada. In goals, dans les filets, number 31, numéro 31, Grant Fjord. En défense, à la défense, number 2, numéro 2, Doug Crossman. Number 7, numéro 7, Raymond Book. At center, au centre, number 99, numéro 99, Wayne Gretzky. At right wing, à l'aile droite, number 21, numéro 21, Brent Sutter. At left wing, à l'aile gauche, number 11, numéro 11, Marc Messier. The head coach, l'entraîneur-chef, Mr. Mike Keenan. The assistant coaches, les entraîneurs adjoints, Monsieur Jean Perron, Mr. John Muckler, and Mr. Tom Watt. Ladies and gentlemen, as it is the custom in international hockey, the 2 captains will now exchange gifts on behalf of their teams. Comme c'est la coutume au hockey international, les capitaines des 2 équipes procéderont maintenant à un échange de cadeaux au nom de leurs équipes. From the Westfield Minor Hockey Association, Justin Sayers. Representing the Olympic world, a member of the Canadian Olympic ski team, let's welcome Ryan Steemel. Representing Canadian Tire, représentant Canadian Tire, Mr. Barry Setner. Representing the sponsor of the Labatt Canada Cup, le commanditaire de la Coupe Canada Labatt, Miss Barb Jessen, Director of Corporate Communication, Labatt Ontario Breweries. Once again, would the captain please come to center ice for the official face-off? Ladies and gentlemen, will you please now rise for the singing of the national anthems of the Soviet Union and Canada. Mesdames et messieurs, voulez-vous s'il vous plaît vous lever pour les hymnes nationaux de l'Union soviétique et du Canada? Your singer tonight, Mr. Michael Burgess.
This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. With Ron Roos, Dan Kelly back in Hamilton, and Team Canada's lineup before you with a couple of scratches tonight, Ron.
Well, James Patrick has been bothered by a hip pointer for the last little while, actually a hip flexor. Kevin Dineen's out with that ankle injury, and the most recent scratch is Michel Goulet, who has a knee problem. There's Yevgeny Belosheikin, who will be in goal for the Soviet Union. He started the first game and lost to Sweden, hasn't played since in the tournament.
And the Soviet lineup, they have a scratch or two themselves. They'll be shooting against Grant Fuhr of the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, not playing will be Kravchuk, who has a knee problem and a rather serious one that may keep him out the whole season. And also not dressed will be Nemchenov.
Grant Fuhr from the Edmonton Oilers having an outstanding tournament, 4 games and a 2.50 goals against average, 3 victories and a tie. The officiating crew tonight is from the United States. They're all NHL officials. Mike Noeth is the referee. Gord Brossiker and Kevin Collins are the linesmen, all U.S. officials, and there's Noeth, the man in charge of this game, as the referee. Canada and the Soviet Union, and the Soviets start their big line of Larionov, Krutov, and Makarov, with Fetisov and Kasatonov on defense. Canada with Mark Messier getting it to Brent Sutter. Now to Crossman, over to Ray Bourque, and this game is underway. Here's Messier, flipping it into center ice. Racing after it was Gretzky. He's checked. Now a loose puck taken by Krutov, number 9, dropping it back to Fetisov. Up the middle for Makarov, number 24. Checked by Messier. Mark Messier with a quick shot. Fetisov blocked it. Brent Sutter a drive. That's off the target, and Gretzky couldn't get a stick on it. Crossman chasing back for Team Canada. Flips it into center. Loose puck picked up by Gretzky, but it's called back. Gretzky didn't hear the whistle, and it's hard to hear anything in this jam-packed Cubs Coliseum in Hamilton this evening.
Well, the crowd's certainly up for it already. There's Wayne Gretzky, who, along with Mario Lemieux, put on the show of shows. We've got a little pushing and shoving going on down in front of the Soviet bench. Fetisov is one of the combatants, if we can call it. Mark Messier also involved. Gretzky is going to the bench. But Gretzky got himself free right in front of the net on that play. Here's a good move as he manages to handle the puck off his skate, back up onto his stick. Shows a little bit different every time you see him, and we've been seeing him a few years and been dazzling us with that sort of thing a few years.
Now Canada with a line of Mario Lemieux, Brian Propp, and Rick Tocchet. High shot caught by Fuhr, and he held on to it. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. Soviets have a forward line of Pekov, number 27, Kamensky, number 13, and number 15, Homatov. A quick shot, handled by Fuhr. He passes his first test of the night. Now Canada, Propp trying to get it in, but it's cleared back out by Gusarov, number 3. Canada controlling. Here's Murphy playing it off the boards to Mario Lemieux, to Tocchet. Off his skate and circling back is Stelnov, number 4. He gives it to Homatov, number 15, losing it. And Canada almost had a chance there. Now Mario Lemieux holding it in on the boards, and a Soviet player just sits down on top of the puck, namely number 27, Bekov, and we get a stop.
Well, number 13 for the Soviets, Valery Kamensky, you might remember from Rendezvous 87. He scored those 2 big goals in the second game. They won, the Soviets won. He only had 13 goals all of last year, but he's a young player. They say he has to get a little stronger. He can be pushed off the puck a bit, but he's got terrific skills. Maybe one of the future stars for the Soviet Union. He's in his 3rd season with the Central Army team of the Soviet Elite League, the perennial champion Central Army.
And still only 21 years of age.
Right.
Here's Hartsburg for Canada. Quick shot. Howard Chuck failed to tip it. Now Coffey fires it around on the boards. That goes wide of the net. Brent Sutter in to get it. Trying to feed Gretzky. Coffey had pinched in. Holds it in, but the Soviets now break out. And here's Semyonov, number 30, feeding it over onto the left side. And the shot by Svetlov, number 16, wide of the target. Soviets holding it in. Trying to center. Coffey tying his man up. Comes back on the point for Pervukin. Got right on. Fuhr handles that. And Canada come back, led by Gretzky, number 99. He has Howard Chuck with him. Gives it to Dale Howard Chuck. Claude Lemieux in front of the net. They can't get it to him. Now Gretzky does. There's Lemieux, but Belosheikin came out and cleared it away. And back comes Semyonov. Ahead to number 23, Lomakin. Dropping it back in front, but the backhander by Svetlov is blocked. Another try. Svetlov, 2 shots. And then cleared by Canada's Gretzky. And here comes Gretzky. Has Claude Lemieux with him. 2-on-1 break. Claude Lemieux shooting. Bellows-Shakin the save. Lemieux couldn't get it in front. And Semyonov takes over number 30. That was Canada's best chance. Claude Lemieux fired out into center ice. Taken there by the Soviets, but only momentarily. And now Himalev controlling in his own zone to Fetisov. Back into center, and here is Yemchinov, number 12. Poked away by Fuhr into the corner. Kryakin can't center. And back comes Mario Lemieux. Trailing is Bourque. He works it to Doug Gilmour, who fires it in. Fetisov back for the Soviets. In their forechecking, centering Lemieux to Gilmour. A shot off the skate, and then covered up on by Bellows-Shakin. And some pushing and shoving in front of that net. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. Faceoff coming up to the left of the Soviet goal. Mark Messier against Larionov. Here's Crossman blasting one wide from the point. Now Bourque at the other point to drive. That's blocked, and Larionov has it. And Larionov fires it in for the Soviet Union. Doug Crossman back, and as he touches it, icing called, and then Krutov ran into the Canadian player, and again the players have to be separated. Number 9 for the Soviets, Vladimir Krutov, one of their very best.
Maybe the best. You talk to people now, he's the most valuable player in the Soviet Union last year. They have a vote. 89 writers voted on this award last year. 85 of them said Krutov was the most valuable player in the Soviet Union. They say that the difference between Krutov, who plays one wing, and the left winger Makarov is that Krutov handles the defensive side of the game a little better than Makarov. Well, he's a good player, though, and he's tough and he's strong and built like a tank. Fetisov nicknamed him the Tank. His teammate, and it's stuck, and for good reason as you look at him.
He had 26 goals last year, 50 points in 39 games for the Central Red Army team. Here's the Soviets trying to carry out out of there, and Stelnov, number 4, does work it into center ice. Broken up, back comes Bourque. Bourque over on the wing for Anderson, but the play is offside at the Soviet Union blue line. No score, 16:32 left here in the first period.
Well, Glenn Anderson's been bothered by a knee injury. They didn't think he was going to play in this tournament. Just his own hard work got him back in the lineup. He's not skating as well as Glenn Anderson can, and he may just come along as this tournament progresses. They're almost working him into shape with lots of game action. Of course, if he's at the top of his game, he's one of the best as well.
This program is protected by copyright. Any use of this telecast without permission is prohibited. Canada with Gretzky, Sutter, and Howard-Chuck on the forward line. Hartsburg back to Copy, stolen by the Soviets. Homotop can't get it centered, however. Canada trying to clear it, held in there by Beckhoff, number 27. Now it comes back on the point. Shot right on, and the save by Pervukin, or by Fuhr on Pervukin's shot from the right point, and Grant Fuhr held on.
Well, I wonder if another goaltender is going to get a shot in this tournament. The way Fuhr has played, it's been pretty hard to move him out of there. In 1984 Canada Cup, he got hurt, and that's what caused a lot of difficulty for Canada. Pervukin's shot, wrist shot from the blue line. Pervukin, the oldest member at 31 of the Soviet national team.
Beckhoff on a face-off, but Sutter wins it for Team Canada, and Brent Sutter trying to feed it into center ice. He's out on the forward line with Gretzky and Howard-Chuck. Now Hartsburg, who's on defense with Coffey, fires it in. Going back for the Soviets. The Dotov can't clear it. Here's Brent Sutter tied up by Pervukin. Now Sutter, number 21, trying to work it free, and does. Sutter can't get away from Pervukin. Back of the net to Gretzky, but the pass went through his skates. And back come the Soviets with Homotop, number 15. Homotop moving in on his backhand, the forehand, shot it wide. Soviets now trying to work it in front. Can't do it because of the work of Team Canada's defenseman Hartsburg, and Canada able to clear it to center. Now here's Beckhoff over onto left wing for Svetlov. Svetlov trying to move in center. Beckhoff a drive. Great glove save by Fuhr. On the shot by Beckhoff. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Vyacheslav Bykov getting a great chance on Grant Fuhr. And while here's the chair, it is now Bykov. Bykov is number 27. He'll get the puck out in front and one-timing it. And there's Fuhr with that glove hand of his. He finds ways. Howard meanwhile, in some difficulties, flexing his shoulder. He came off the ice before his shift was due to end and in a great deal of pain, but he seems to have settled down on the bench and shaken it off.
Canada controlling from the face-off. Murphy clearing it around to Prop, held in by the Soviets. Samyonov, quick wrist shot from the slot. Wide of the target, and Mario Lemieux flips it to center. Lemieux out there on a forward line with Tocchet on right wing, Prop on the left side. Here's Samyonov, number 30 for the Soviets. Out to Fetisov, number 2. Long pass down right wing for Svetlov. He moves in. Svetlov has Lomakin in front. Big save, Fuhr on Lomakin, and Prop cleared it away. Fuhr has been brilliant here in the early going. Now Lomakin, who had that great chance trying to center. Tocchet can't get it, but Prop does. And here comes Murphy to Tocchet. Kasatonov is there defensively. And now the Soviets drop it back behind their own goal. Kasatonov checked out in front. Backhander, they score! Glenn Anderson, number 9.
Well, here it is. Crowd really enjoying this as Tocchet gets it in against the boards. Now here comes big Mario Lemieux. He's going to wind up with the puck behind the net, stealing it on a bad clear. And there's Anderson, backhand up high. Gusarov was the man who just gave the puck away. There were 2 glaring defensive errors, one at each end. Canada was the one that capitalized. Normand Rochefort got away with his down at the other end.
Glenn Anderson getting the goal, but Fuhr has made 2 or 3 game savers here in the early going. Back comes Himilev. His shot off the side of the net. And Mario Lemieux, who set up that goal by Anderson, trying to clear it. Gusarov held it in. Now couldn't and drops it back into center ice. Yemchenov, number 12 up there, but Mario Lemieux breaks it up. Now number 22, Priyakin. Now it comes back near the line. Stelnov over to his defense partner, who is Gusarov, cleared to center. Picked up by Nemchinov. He's checked, and Mario Lemieux back for Canada. Lemieux checked at the blue line. Picking up the loose puck and carrying in was Gilmore, but he didn't wait long enough for Mario Lemieux to get himself back onside.
Well, Mario Lemieux is really playing the hockey of his life right now, and that's considerable considering some of the things he's already done in the National Hockey League and as a junior in Laval in Quebec. But Anderson from Mario Lemieux, 5:37. Now we're going to get a chance to see the error that was made at the other end of the ice. This was the result of that error, as overcommitting and just getting back into your picture there was Rochefort, but he had blown a check right at the blue line by overcommitting himself. And that led to a great scoring chance, and Fuhr has, as you said, Dan, been terrific.
Here's Krutov, number 9, taken out of the play nicely, and Mike Gartner has it for Canada. Canada leading 1-0. They work it into center ice. Bork is checked, and now the Soviets drop it back to their own end. Fedotov over on right wing for Pervukin. Now up the middle, and Larionov carried in, but Krutov was in ahead of the play offside. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, Canada's leading 1-0, I think, thanks in no small part to Grant Fuhr very early in this game. He's come up with the big saves, although there was also a big one on that 2-on-1 break when Claude Lemieux and Gretzky broke in back to the 2-minute mark.
There is Grant Fuhr, the scoring play for Canada. Anderson from Mario Lemieux, 5:37. Ron Hextall, as great a young goaltender he is, just has to sit and wait with Fuhr playing as well as he has. Puck shot in. Pervukin can't clear it, and now back of his own goal goes Fedotov, loses. Gartner a shot, but it's nowhere near the net. Makarov, number 24, loses it, and Pervukin flips it into center ice. Rochefort tying up Larionov, and Murphy goes back to cover up for Canada. Plays it off the boards, and now starts to carry up ice. Off the boards to Messier. Messier tied up by Larionov, and now Krutov bumped by Anderson to Makarov, number 24. Soviets with their big line out there again, but a very poor pass by Makarov, and the play was offside anyway. And then Larionov, who's coming into this game with a bad back, gets decked by Rochefort at the Team Canada defense.
The young fellow who was kind of left off the team for a little while because of the way he partied a little bit after the Canada Cup in 1984. They said, hey, you don't do that. Wear the Soviet uniform, so they left him at home for one tournament. He's come back. He's the #1 centerman in the Soviet Union.
Here's the line of Bekov, Kamensky, and Homotov for the Soviets. Canada with Gretzky, along with Sutter and Howardchuk. And here is Gretzky. To Howardchuk. Drops it all the way back, and Paul Coffey tries a rush. Played it off the boards. Here's Sutter. But fellow shaken out of the net, almost gets trapped there. Sutter kicking it to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky. Tied up and taken out of the play by Bekov, number 27. Gretzky gave a little punch back of the net and got away with it. Now Canada with Gretzky. From behind the net in front, Howardchuk shot. Bellow shaken, a big save on Dale Howardchuk. And he held on to it. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
One of those stats that often is deceiving, but I don't think deceiving in this instance. The USSR, 8 shots, Canada just 3, but Canada leads 1-0.
That's the way I've seen it. Fuhr has made the big save, and the one big giveaway by the Soviets when Lemieux set up Anderson for the scoring play. There's the Soviets in their own zone with number 4, Stelnov, clearing it to Lomakin, to Semyonov, but Crossman is there. Semyonov into forecheck on him, and Ray Bourque has to go back. Canada firing it out is Prop, racing after it Lemieux, and Bellow shaken sees that big number 66 bearing down, and he took no chance. He went way over near the right wing boards to smother that.
That'd be a delay of the game if it had been in another league, but we're playing international rules here. Mario Lemieux saying, hey, you don't do that in Pittsburgh. Mario is having quite a tournament.
5 goals for Lemieux to lead all Team Canada snipers. Here he is getting ready to face off with Semyonov, number 30. Lemieux wins the draw. Bourque blasting one high over top of the net. Held in by Crossman. Tocchet into the corner. Ridden off. Now Prop comes over to help out. And Lomakin dropping it back for Gusarov. Now into center ice, and trying to stick handle in is Swetlop, number 16. Crossman had him tied up. Puck centered in Lemieux with that long reach again. Intercepts and gives it to Bourque. To Lemieux. Back checking Semyonov, giving it to Stelnov. Now Semyonov, number 30. Into center ice for Swetlop. Semyonov trying to center. Tipped away by Canada. And Prop beats Tocchet, number 22. Tocchet firing it in. Bellow shaken, misses it. Here's Doug Gilmour in to get it, but his pass intercepted by Semyonov. Passing it over onto the wing, breaking in and trying to get a shot off is Priakin. Priakin still battling for it. And finally Gretzky has it for Canada to Gilmour. Doug Gilmour from the St. Louis Blues, number 28. Low shot. Handled by Bellow shaken, and he held on to it. And we get a stoppage. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. .18 left in period 1. 1-0 Canada. Canada with Messier, Gardner, and Anderson now up front.
Well, Canada has been doing its job defensively, I think, trying to control this game and keep a lead. I think this is kind of a game, Dan, where we're going to watch Canada come along. They get rid of the early shakes here.
Here's Makarov trying to shake loose from Glenn Anderson. Canada center it. Gardner was there, but Fetisov broke it up. And here's Kasatonov, number 7, one of their top defensemen, firing it in. Glenn Anderson, the goal scorer, back to get it. And Canada now work it to Messier on left wing, leaving it there for Bourque. That's Larionov with help from Kasatonov. Up comes to Fetisov, number 2. This pass hopped over the stick of Makarov, and Crossman is back for Canada. Doug Crossman from the Philadelphia Flyers. Playing it out to Bourque. Now they drop it back to Bourque again. And now Bork feeding it to Anderson. Anderson with Messier and Gartner, but Kasatonov is there to clear it away. Now Makarov poking it into center. Coffey is there to knock that one down. And Krutov drops it to Fetisov in his own zone. Fetisov to Makarov. Leaves for Fetisov. Wrist shot wide. Big rebound. Pure cleared it. Here's Fetisov again. Shot right on. Pure the save. Coffey cleared it. Now at the other point, Gusarov holding it in. To Krutov to Makarov. Krutov, number 9. Messier trying to tie him up. Knocks it back of his own goal, and Craig Hartsburg has it for Canada. And Hartsburg played it high off the glass. Hustling back Gusarov. Giving it to Fetisov. Up the middle. Soviets changing on the fly. Kamensky shoots one. Pure the save. Sutter clears the rebound. Again, the Soviets hold it in. Bekov, number 27. Passing it in to Homatov. Now Howardchuk. Back checking, breaks it up. And Gusarov has it for the Soviets. To Bekov, number 27. Now in across the line. Homatov, number 15. Drops it back, moving in deep for a shot. Stelnov. And when he did let it go, he fired wide. Bekov back to the point. Gusarov, a drive and Pure. A sliding acrobatic save again, and Pure has been brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you something. I saw something I didn't like there, and I don't know what provoked it, but we saw Sutter just slash Kamensky across the side of the face with a stick. Now, it could have been retaliatory, but they're both going in any case, and Mike Noack was standing right there. Well, there's been just a little too much of the high sticking going on. We saw that terrible slash of Sutter. All right, here it is. Now watch number 13. Now watch Sutter here. Pushes him, still nothing. Pushes him again. Now he gets the poke. There's the slash, and that is vicious. We had a terrible, terrible slash delivered by Gary Suter of the Calgary Flames in the U.S. game the other night. That was on Lumakin, who suffered a 10-stitch cut. A penalty given by Schubert, the Czechoslovakian referee, was 5 minutes for charging, believe it or not, but at least a 5-minute penalty was issued.
Canada may be fortunate because just minor penalties against Kamensky for roughing and to Sutter for high sticking. Canada could have come out of that second best.
I'll tell you, I don't care what Kamensky did, he didn't deserve to get a slash across the side of the face.
Here's Lomakin on a face-off against Mario Lemieux. Canada win it, and Craig Hartsburg controlling. Hartsburg, number 4, giving it off to Paul Coffey. Coffey, number 77. Coffey cruising in, feeds it across for Lemieux, but it was tipped away. And back comes Lomakin, number 23. Lomakin moving in, centered, and a good defensive play by Coffey to catch up with Svetlov and break it up at the side of the net. Soviets now have to drop it back. The Dotop, number 14, giving it to Svetlov, number 16. He leaves it for Lomakin. Shot blocked at the defense, and Canada come back. Here's Lemieux. Big Mario Lemieux. Works in deeper. A little too deep and gets pulled down, and Lomakin will get a penalty here, and Canada will have a power play. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Now, we mentioned the change in Soviet hockey the moment that fellow retired. Vladislav Tretiak ended his career in the final game of the 1984 Olympics in Sarajevo. Since then, the Soviets have won just 2 tournaments, the Izvestia and a World Championship, both of those, of course, at home. They've lost 4 championships. Take a look at the penalty. Lomakin goes off for hooking, and this was all Mario Lemieux. Lemieux just finally drew the penalty by controlling, and finally, I guess, get a little frustrated when you have to deal with a guy like that. You haul him down, and then you wind up in the penalty box.
Canada on the power play, 5 goals in 17 attempts, a 29.41 percentage. So after a very slow start on the power play, they've come on in the last couple of games against the U.S. and against Sweden. Right now, the more dangerous kind of power play, the 4 against 3, and you got Gretzky and Lemieux up front. Watch those 2 guys. They've been magic lately.
And Coffey and Bork. I don't think that's scary.
Here's Coffey. Canada leading 1-0 and on a 4-against-3 power play. Now Bourque to Coffey. Back to Bourque, but the pass came outside the line, and Canada will have to drop back. Raymond Bourque. Leaving it there for Coffey. Firing it in. Bello shaken. Sets it up for Fetisov. Fetisov, their best defenseman, to Kasatonov. Now to Semyonov. And Bourque runs into him and then drops it to Coffey. Here comes Coffey leading the power play rush. Into Gretzky. Leaving it there for Bourque. Back to Gretzky. To Bourque. Cross ice to Coffey. Side of the net, but Makarov intercepts, and he comes back. Feeding it into center ice to Fetisov. Fetisov to Makarov. Just missed. And Pure had to make a save on that play. Now, Canada on the power play. Messier breaking in. Messier tied up at the side of the net by Gusarov. Puck comes loose, and Makarov clears it away. Now the 5-against-4 power play. The only man in the penalty box, Lomakin, with 35 seconds left. Here's a break for Anderson, but Stelnov was there to clear it back out. And Murphy has it for Canada to Crossman. Crossman to Messier, and Gusarov will knock the stick right out of his hands with a chop. Bekoff, number 27, give away to Messier. Feeding into Anderson. In front to Crossman. Just wide with that wrist shot. And the Soviets break away. One-on-one break. Homatov against Murphy. Murphy took him out of there. Homatov was one-on-one, and Murphy knocked him down. Here's Messier to Anderson. Cutting in. Anderson over top with a backhander. And Pervukin cleared it around. Now Lomakin back on. The Soviets at full strength as they come to center. Homatov, number 15, leaving it at the point, and the shot by Fedotov kicked aside by Pure. Glenn Anderson on the boards, trying to get it out of there. Bekoff at the side of the net. Stolen, trying to center, and he gets tied up. And a jam up in the corner and a stoppage in play. 4:43 left in the first period. Canada leading 1-0.
Well, there's so many things that Messier does well, but checking is one of them. All up like that. Kind of felt the pain there, Pervukin, behind the net.
Soviets have outshot Canada 13-5. A trail 1-0. So that tells you the important role Pure is playing. Here's Bekoff trying to flip it in. Canada clear it right back out. Now Prop takes his man out, and Hartsburg, who's on defense with Rochefort, back to control. Gilmore, Tocchet, and Prop up front for Canada. And here's Rochefort to Doug Gilmore. Tipping it in. Bello shaken clears it aside, and Fetisov has it for the Soviets. Into center ice to Nemchinov, number 12. Nemchinov moving in. His shot blocked, and Canada start back again. Prop down right wing. Brian Prop, but breaking in ahead of the play over on the left side is Philadelphia Flyer teammate Rick Tocchet, and it put it offside. Here's Glenn Anderson for Canada. He's had the only goal in this game, clearing it. Soviet. Stelnov back to get it. Gets wrapped into the boards on a good check by Claude Lemieux. Now Lemieux back of the net, trying to center to Mario Lemieux. Claude Lemieux still after it. Gets help from Mario. Now they jam up Lomakin, and then Semyonov cleared it out of the zone. Hartsburg dropping it back, and Team Canada leading 1-0. Just clear it near the Soviets line. Stelnov dropping it over. Now it comes to Gusarov. Flipped up the ice. Hartsburg gets up, ended by Semyonov. No penalty on that play, and the fans thought there should have been. Here's Mario Lemieux with Claude Lemieux, but intercepting is Krutov. Long pass down left wing for number 14, Fedotov. Long shot. Pure handles it, and Crossman has it for Canada. Crossman firing one up the middle. Misses everyone, including Prop. Bello shaken out to set it up. Cleared around, and controlling it now is Fedotov. To Makarov, now to Larionov, number 11. He's ridden out by Gartner. And Canada with Messier flip it to the Soviet line. Makarov to Larionov. Larionov leaving it there for Fedotov, number 14. Now into Larionov. And he tried to drop it back. Verbuchen couldn't hold it in. And he gets squeezed out of the play. And back comes Bork. But Larionov was back checking. Number 11. Larionov leaving it there. Fedotov fired it into center ice. And Gartner cleared it right back in for Canada. Here's Howard-Chuck digging in. Centered out in front. Gretzky was there, but it was cleared away. Here's Larionov, number 11. Trying to go around Coffey. Drops it back. Moving in. And the shot was blocked as Kasatonov let it go. And it hit a skate. Soviets, Larionov held it in, and Doug Crossman for Canada. 1:35 left in the period. 1-0 Canada. Howard-Chuck dumping it in. Beloshakin clearing it up himself to Bekov. Now into center ice. Kamensky, number 13, got it in front, still loose. Whacked at and covered up by Fuhr as Homatov had a whack at it as it came into the crease. And there's that youngster Kamensky making things happen again for the Soviets.
Well, they said he wasn't very strong. He seems to have worked on that side of his game because he worked around the defense, hung on pretty well, and then right there in front, a good chance. Homotov was the one who kind of relayed it and missed the net. There's Howard-Chuck. Hell, Howard-Chuck, I think, is having some problems. He's been favoring that shoulder ever since the early stages of the period when he went off the ice with the problem. Kind of reaching out. You can see the grimace there of pain as he sat down, and they're working on it still. So he's got a problem out there.
Canada already down to 11 forwards with the absence of Deneen and Goulet tonight, which isn't 4 complete lines, of course. Here's Larry Murphy firing a long one in. Beloshakin makes the save, but Tisov clearing it up, and Bekov cleared it into center ice. Murphy, number 8, is there again. Cleared it near the line. Kasatonov beating Bekov. Moving in, shooting, Fuhr the save, and he held on with Kamensky cutting in for a rebound.
I'll tell you, Fuhr has really had his work at this. The shots on goal are more like a Canadian game against the Soviets. They've been firing, and they've been firing good shots from good spots on the ice. But for the brilliance of Grant Fuhr, this game wouldn't even be close right now. That was Bekov who let that one go. The shots are 16-6 for the Soviets.
Ron, a lot of people feel that if you get ahead of the Soviets, you throw them off their game. You've seen them a lot. Is that true?
No, I don't think it's true at all. I think that you get way ahead of them, you'll throw any team off. But I think the Soviets, they're so used to winning and so used to.
Well, that's the feeling. They're so used to winning, they're not used to being behind.
Yeah, well, they're awfully good.
So is Team Canada. They're leading 1-0, although they've been outshot badly here in the opening period. Here's Stelnov feeding one up on right wing. Yemchinov getting it into the corner. Priyakin can't center it, and Canada try to get it out. And now pass into center ice off of Gartner's stick. Picked up by Bork to Gartner with a slap shot wide. 25 seconds left in the period. Canada can't hold it in. Now they do on a big check by Messier as he knocked Gusarov flying. Messier knocked Gusarov flying.
I'll tell you something. You won't see a tougher elbow than Mark Messier just threw and got away with it. Boy, that was tough inside the blue line. Going to see a couple of checks here. First of all, there's Anderson standing up against the boards, and moving in on him is Yemchinov. And Yemchinov, now watch this one. Watch the elbow. Oh, a little tough when you're not looking for it.
Mark Messier of the Edmonton Oilers with a near knockout blow. 13 seconds left in the period. 1-0, Canada leading. Faceoff will be just on the Soviet side of the center ice red line. Brent Sutter, normally a winger in recent games for Team Canada, but he's taking most of the faceoffs as he does here. Flips it in for Claude Lemieux. Lemieux back of the net, got it in front. Mario Lemieux fires it through the crease. Bork shoots. Beloshakin the save. just as the buzzer went, but that would have been a goal, and it gone in, and now off to the side of the net. Claude Lemieux and Semyonov had their sticks up, and Semyonov took a pitchfork at Lemieux. What a period for Grand Pure. He's the difference as Canada leads after 1-0. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Shots on goals.
We've talked a lot over the years about the Oilers goaltender Grand Pure being the best, and he sure showed us in that period, Ron Rouge.
Well, you know, you live in the East, you don't get to see him the 60 or 65 games a year that he plays, or 40, 45 games with Andy Moog out in Edmonton. But, well, I tell you, he's showing the whole nation right here just the way he can play goal. You know, we also had a shot of Ron Hextall sitting on the bench. They have been very, very close friends throughout this thing, almost inseparable. Talk to each other, talking goaltending and so on. And I think that Ron Hextall is on that bench cheering on Grand Pure as hard as anybody in this building. And the goal scorer in the game right there. He's playing a pretty good game too, as it seems to be picking up his pace a little bit. He looked a little out of place in the first game back, but Glenn Anderson, his first of the tournament, Mario Lemieux sent him up.
Here we go with the second period. Messier winning a face-off from Larionov, and Canada control with Crossman feeding it to Bourque. Back to Doug Crossman, number 2. Messier flipping it down the ice, and Larionov, number 11, going back to pick it up. Leaves it for Kasatonov, and he just fires it down the left side. Pure out of the net. Lets it go, and as Bourque plays it, it's icing. Good heads-up play there by Fuhr. He would have played it if he had to, but when he knew Bourque was there, he just let it go, and thus gets the icing go.
Well, there's Raymond Bourque. You know, a guy we're not going to see a lot of, number 12. You just saw him skate through your picture, but is playing a great game tonight is Mike Gartner. Gartner has the job tonight of looking after Krutov, and he is shutting him down completely. I don't think you've seen much of Krutov at all, but Gartner, who is, as we mentioned the last telecast, the veteran of international play, close to 50 international games playing for Canada, more than any other Canadian. Now, he's playing a great game.
Here's Mikhailov, number 24, trying to break in. It's tied up by Bourque, and now Canada, Crossman having difficulty, or it's Anderson having difficulty. Bourque is there to cover up, gives it to Crossman, and Crossman feeds it into Messier. Broken up, and then it's offside at the Soviets' blue line. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Well, the history of these two teams has been one of very, very close games in the Canada Cup in 1984. That terrific overtime game won by Mike Bossy. We've had other ones we'll tell you about as we go on here.
Here's Sutter to Howard Chuck as Canada's on the attack. Broken up and cleared around by the Soviets, and Gusarov, number 3, takes over. Howard Chuck trying to hold it in. Homatov covering up. Gretzky held it in with a good play at the blue line. In comes Sutter. Gretzky follows up. Tried to center. Gretzky still after it. Beckhoff tied him up. Now Sutter in front of the net. He gets taken out of the play, and Gusarov feeds it into center ice. Here come the Soviets. Homatov trying to flip it through. Beckhoff is there, but Hartsburg pokes it to Paul Coffey. Shot it into center ice. Stolen there by Gretzky. Leaves for Sutter. Back to Gretzky. Gretzky shot right on. Bellows shaking a glove save. And he held on to it for a faceoff.
A little bit of a mistake made at the blue line there by Stelnov, number 4, that led to a scoring chance at the side of the net. Glove save made by Bellows-Shakin, who is in and out of the favor of people in the Soviet Union who coached this team. There's a look at this afternoon's games, which has paved the way to what's happening tonight. And this game, of course, is for first place. And there are the standings. Now, the Soviet Union loses tonight. They will be playing the third place team, Sweden, the team they lost to. The idea is to make the playoffs, that final round, which is a best of 3. There's sudden death up to that time. Soviets would like to win this game just to avoid Sweden, who has beaten them in the World Hockey Championship last spring and in this tournament.
So the United States and Finland are eliminated from the playoff rounds. Here's Rochefort for Canada. Shot. Mario Lemieux poked it in front. Now cleared away, and Svetlov Gets it to Semyonov. He's checked. Svetlov again. Now dropping it to Fedotov. He flips it in. Claude Lemieux can't clear it. Mario Lemieux does. Claude Lemieux to Anderson. Glenn Anderson, who has the goal for Canada. Breaking in, try to drop pass. Soviets come right back the other way. Lomakin to Semyonov. Shooting. Side of the net. They score! Tipped in by Svetlov, number 16, as he went cruising by the net. And Svetlov ties it at 1-1.
Well, that was a bank shot because he was behind the net and he looked like he put it off the back of Fuhr. It got turned around. Watch him as he comes to the side of the net. Here comes the shot, and that just deflected in. Now, I'm not sure who exactly. Fuhr, that was a little quicker than we really wanted to see it, but that was a bank shot. Fuhr trying to scramble across the goal mouth area. And it's in the net. Svetlov is going to get the goal, and we've got a tie hockey game.
Sergei Svetlov gets the goal to tie it. It's 1-1. Now Fetisov in the Soviet zone. Trying to stick handle out, works it out onto right wing and fired over by Semyonov. Now into the corner after it. It's dropped back. Kasatonov a drive. That deflects wide. And here's Doug Gilmour for Canada, flipping it to center ice. Kasatonov back to get it, number 7. To Nemchinov. Now into center ice. A pass to Himalev. He was checked. Canada with Brian Propp controlling. Propp dropping it, and here comes Crossman to Bork. Bork to Propp. Propp with a quick wrist shot. Beloshakin clears it away. Held in by Canada. Kasatonov back of his own net. Clears it out. And Himalev flips it ahead at center. Racing after it. Pryakin, number 22. Pryakin centered. Wide open. Fuhr. Big save on Fetisov. And Canada quickly clear it. Fetisov was in all alone, and Fuhr beat him. Here's Kasatonov. Kasatonov dropping it. Larionov moves in. Krutov trying to center. Good defensive play there to break up a 2-on-1 by Doug Crossman. He clears to Gardner. Gardner in with Messier. Gardner trying to get a shot off. He was tied up at the last second. Now Messier. And Anderson in front couldn't get it to him in time, and Larionov has it for the Soviets. Number 11, Igor Larionov. Into center ice for Makarov. Makarov trying to leave it for Krutov. Now Larionov trailing. Cuts in, but he was checked, and Hartsburg fires it to center. Stelnov, number 4. Stick handling beautifully. Leads a Soviet rush to Makarov. Back in front, a shot, they score! Deflected in by Krutov at the side of the net. And the Soviets lead 2-1. And there's Vladimir Krutov that we talked about perhaps being the Soviets' best earlier.
Well, he gets a great pass from Makarov, who goes in deep. Now that's Krutov jamming up in front of the net, and he just flipped it in. Now Gardner, whose job it is to look after Krutov, had gone to the bench. He had completed his shift. He, of course, didn't want to tire himself out there and be at the tag end of his shift. Krutov stayed off, and he winds up with the goal in the Soviets. And for some reason, I just looked up, as a matter of fact, and the clock has not moved since the goal by Svetlov. So I don't know where they have to put the hand timing. I just looked up to put the time of the goal down, and it still reads 1:32 or 18:28 remaining in the period.
Vladimir Krutov, 27-year-old veteran winger, has just given the Soviets the lead on a great setup by his longtime line mate Makarov.
Stelnov will draw the second assist. It's at 3:27 officially, but the clock has not moved. So the Cops Coliseum.
The clock hasn't moved, but the Soviets have, and they've moved in front 2-0. Here's Bekov trying to carry in. Now back comes Sutter. Flipped it ahead for Gretzky. Gusarov, number 3, going back to pick it up. Gusarov. Checked by Howardchuk. Now it's flipped across. And the Soviets, Kamensky, number 13. Leaving for Gusarov. Fires it around on the boards. Brent Sutter into center. Here's Gretzky taking a swipe at it, but it was wide. And Stelnov carries back to Bekov. Homotov, number 15, picks it up and has to circle back. Homotov Into center ice to Bekov. Over to Kamensky, but it's offside at Team Canada's blue line. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
44 seconds left in the second period.
In Canada Cup play, Canada has lost to the Soviet Union just once, but it was that famous 1981 championship game in which the Soviets beat Canada 8-1. The game most memorable, I think, was the time that Krutov ate Guy Lafleur alive on a power play, scored an unassisted shorthanded goal that just completely finished Canada. Made the score 5-1 at that point.
Here's Canada on the attack, trying to center it. Tocchet, or Claude Lemieux it is, and he gets knocked down, got a shot off anyway. And the fans boo that here in Hamilton.
Claude Lemieux always looks like he's never going to get up. He went down, stayed there. He pays a fair price, and then at the same time, many believe he also puts on quite a show out there of paying a big price. He'll live, I think.
They have a few more teeth loosened, but here's Messier with Anderson and Gardner for Canada. Face off deep in the Soviet Union into the ring. Yemchinov on the face-off against Messier. And Yemchinov wins it. There's Anderson, a quick shot, though, and boy, a good glove save by Belosheikin. He looked almost nonchalant, but he got that left hand out there in a hurry.
A good chance for Anderson, who's playing pretty well here tonight. As he managed to reach in, get it in his skates, and then let it go, and he had it labeled. He was looking for the inside of that post.
Yemchinov and Messier again on the face-off. Again, Anderson getting it. Backhander hit Gardner. Gardner to the corner. Back of the net, Fetisov breaks it up. Fetisov up the middle, and the Soviets on the attack. Priakin trying to move in. Back checking was Glenn Anderson, and he controls for Canada. To Messier. He's bumped by Priakin, or by Yemchinov, who came over and gave him a jolt. Here's Fetisov to Kasatonov. Now to Priakin, number 22. To Fetisov. Kasatonov to Fetisov. Back to Kasatonov. Look at that twosome working out beautifully. And here's Priakin moving in offensively. Drops it to Fetisov. Back checking was Gardner. And Canada starts back. Crossman flipping it through. Larionov was there to shoot it out. Crossman for Team Canada to Gretzky. Tried to feed Brent Sutter. And it's knocked away. Kasatonov to Fetisov. That veteran twosome working out of their own zone well. Here's the forward line of Larionov, Makarov, and Krutov. Their best. Makarov out in front, bumped by Hartsburg, and never got the shot off. And it's cleared to center. Kasatonov leaving it for Krutov. Now to Makarov. Larionov picks it up. To Krutov, hopped over his stick. And Coffey is back for Canada to Gretzky. Gretzky trying to flip it through. Does get it in front. Back checking was Krutov, and the Soviets attack again. Krutov for Makarov. Cutting right in, Makarov wide of the net with that drive. Gretzky for Canada. Cleared it, Makarov holding it in. Makarov gets away from Coffey, who spun him around, and then Gretzky upended, and there'll be a penalty to Makarov on the play. Coffey on the delayed penalty carrying in. Coffey trying to center, and Belosheikin made the save, and then we get a stoppage in play, and the Soviets are really upset about the penalty called to Makarov. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Makarov goes off for tripping at the 9:32 mark of the period. Got a chance to take a look at it. He's number 24 behind number 99. Reaches out, just touches Gretzky well enough to haul him down. Makarov didn't think he deserved the penalty, but you can see the fabric pull. And then down at the other end, Gilmore moving in. just after the penalty on the delayed whistle, up against the boards, and a little bit of a reap there from Larionov put him in the net.
Well, let's see what Canada can do on the power play. Makarov tripping, 6:45 the time, and it comes at an opportune time for Canada because the Soviets were really out-skating Team Canada at this point.
One thing is very noticeable. This is the best I have seen Fetisov play in about 3 years. He is having a very, very good game out there. Kasatonov playing his usual steady-type hockey, and that front line, including Larionov, has got a bad back, but certainly Makarov and Karutov were really buzzing around that last shift.
Messier with Lemieux and Gretzky up front. Coffey and Bourque, the point man. Gretzky over to Bourque. Back to Coffey. Return to Bourque. To Paul Coffey. Into Gretzky. Shooting. Maloshakin kicks it up. Held in by Coffey. To Gretzky. Gretzky to Coffey. Coffey fakes from the point. Feeds Gretzky. Across to Lemieux. Shot it wide. Gretzky again. To Lemieux. He fanned on it. Bourque has it at the point. Into Messier. Soviets cleared. Bourque held it into Coffey. Coffey loses. Bekov breaks away. Bourque gets back. Bekov leaving it for Homatov. And Bourque came over and played the man. It's kicked ahead from Messier to Lemieux to Gretzky. Bellow shaken away out of the net. And he goes right to the corner to grab that one. And Gretzky is thinking of the NHL when he says that should be a penalty, but not here in international rules.
Well, he's done it twice in this game, and clearly it would be a penalty in the National Hockey League. Perfectly legal. Yellow shaken, rather nomadic. Gretzky. The thing to do would be in the NHL, of course, to clear it. Well, if they can just simply stop the play. But the power play is looking pretty good right here, but they're going to have to get some shots on the net.
1:06 left in the penalty. We've had problems with the time clock here, so we have to wait for the PA announcer to give us the time left. And that's what the referee is doing now with the Team Canada bench and Mike Keenan. 1:06 left in the penalty. Noah is the referee.
He's pretty well put his whistle away. He's let an awful lot of stuff go in this game.
Gretzky and Fetisov, their respective captains, gather around Noah.
I don't know what all that's about. Fetisov's got some equipment problems. Obviously some tape or something on his stick.
Ready for the face-off. As you look at the Soviets captain, the veteran Fetisov. On the face-off, Semyonov against Messier. Messier gets the draw to Mario Lemieux to Raymond Bourque. Back to Lemieux. Now Bourque missed it and has to chase back. Bourque of the Boston Bruins. Ed Manning to Messier. Into Mario Lemieux, cuts in, shoots, shot it wide. Gretzky in to get it. To Messier. Back to Gretzky. Gretzky fell. Soviets come up with it, and Semyonov carries out of there. Semyonov with Svetlov with him. To Svetlov, he scores! Svetlov on a low booming shot. A short-handed goal, and it's 3-1 for the Soviets.
Well, that's a bit of a shocker as they came out just on a seemingly ordinary 2-on-2. Worked a bit of a crossover here in the drop pass. And I think that, well, he let a great low shot go, but still, it's a stoppable kind of a shot. And it looked to me as if Fuhr may have blown the angle a little bit.
I thought it was just a rocket that Svetlov let go. That was the difference.
Well, that, and the fact it was a low shot as well, but it just seemed to me that Fuhr had got out a little, lost sight of his crease a little bit.
A short-handed goal, and the Soviets lead 3-1. Larry Murphy back to get it for Canada. Now to Doug Crossman. Crossman into center ice to Brian Propp. Propp shooting it in. And the Soviets take over. And Gusarov is there to clear it into center ice. Howardchuk back to get it. Now Makarov is back on. Soviets back at full strength. and they scored a shorthanded goal in the bargain. Himalev feeding one on the left side to Nemchinov. He moves in, but made one move too many, and Howard-Chuck stole it from him. Number 10, Dale Howard-Chuck, trying to clear it in, carries in himself, centered. Oh, and Gartner shot it just wide. Great setup by Howard-Chuck, and Gartner just missed. Back come the Soviets. Himalev leaving it for Makarov, back to Himalev. Crossman trying to tie him up. Now Makarov with Murphy on his back. Centered, Larionov a drive, and that's high and wide. And Canada's Brian Propp drops it to Crossman. And Crossman dumps it in. Sutter racing in with Fedotov. He got a piece of Fedotov, but Fedotov cleared to Makarov. Gilmore couldn't hold it in, and Canada has to go back. Coffey at his own line. Over to Hartsburg. Back to Paul Coffey. Coffey moving in, but Gilmore was in ahead of the play. Offside at the Soviet blue line. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Alan Eagleson on the left of your screen. That's Gunther Zabetsky, the president of the International Ice Hockey Federation, sitting to the Eagles' left, right of your screen. And there's the friendly coach of the Soviet Union, Vladimir Tikhonov, and Viktor Tikhonov, rather. And then Tikhonov, they say, is under a great deal of fire in the Soviet Union, but he is really the victim of the system, which has not produced great players like they did about 10 years ago when all of the Makarovs and Krutovs and Fetisovs came up along with Tretiak.
Soviets leading 3-1. That last scoring play. Svetlov, the shorthanded goal. Fetisov and Semyonov, the assists. 8:15 the time. Canada behind 3-1. There's Bork losing to Makarov. Makarov leaves it for Larionov, but it came out of the zone, and they have to drop it back to Pervukin. Now to Krutov. Over to Larionov, number 11. To Krutov. To Makarov. He gets spun around by Bork. Krutov sliding it in. Crossman there for Canada to Gretzky. Fetisov kicks it into the corner. Crossman trying to fire it out on this wing for Lemieux, at number 32. Lemieux feeds Sutter. Sutter into Gretzky. Gretzky trying to center to Sutter. Sutter in front to Gretzky. Now to Rossmore. He's tied up. Penalty coming up to the Soviets. Makarov had Team Canada's player tied up and knocked, but it's going to be an interference penalty on an earlier infraction. And I believe it's going to be against Pervukin.
Well, there's a look at Sergei Makarov. You know, you look back in the history of these great Soviet teams, they've always had a terrific left winger. I'll think back to the late 60s, early 70s when they had Yakushev, and then they added, after Yakushev reached the end of his career, Valery Harlamov became the great left winger on the team and a perennial all-star. Now it's Makarov, 8 times in a row, the all-star left winger in the Soviet National League. Take a look at the penalty, the interference right in front of the net as they knocked Lemieux over. Pervukin is going to get the interference penalty, but I think the goaltender probably had more to do that than anything. And so in any case, Canada goes on a power play once again. It has not been, all things considered, a great power play tonight. Not the way it looked the other night.
They're 0 for 2, and they've given up a shorthanded goal. 10:51, the time of that penalty to Pervukin. Messier, Lemieux, and Gretzky up front. Bork and Coffey the point men. 3-1, the Soviets leading. Here's Coffey over to Bork. Into Mario Lemieux. Trying to drop it back, and Coffey will have to retreat. To Bork. Bekhoff into Forchek. Stole it. Now Messier breaks up. To Mario Lemieux. Big Mario into Gretzky. Gretzky in front. Messier to Gretzky to Bork. They score! Raymond Bork!
Well, Dan, you described it perfectly. Messier to Gretzky to Bork. Boy, that's nice. Bork
Nice
playing the
and
zone.
beautiful.
Yeah. There it is. Back to Gretzky. This can't be better. Now the defense completely turned around. Right in front of the net, Kasatonov, who doesn't make that mistake very often. They moved it so quickly. He got his back turned to it. And there was Bork, who was the extra man flooding in front of the net. And Team Canada got a goal they desperately needed.
So that cuts the Soviet lead to 3-2. Now racing back, Stelnov, number 4, beating it up to number 16, Svetlov. Svetlov, who's played a prominent part for the Soviets tonight. Leaving it there, backhand try by Lomakin is blocked, and back comes Canada, led by Bork. Bork, who scored the goal, clears it in. Messier digs in, but Semyonov is there, and then the Soviet goal was knocked loose, and that causes a stoppage.
I got a chance to look at this goal from yet another angle with the net off its moorings there. Didn't score it with the net quite in that position. Here's a good view of it now, and again you see it unfold. Watch the defense of the Soviet Union as the puck is moved around. Right through the legs. Now Kasatonov has turned around looking for a puck in a different direction, and Bork's behind him. And Raymond Bork.
They announced the goal as Bork from Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, 11-16, but Messier will get that assist, the other assist in place of Lemieux. It was definitely he that gave it to Gretzky, and Gretzky put it across the crease.
Not only that, Lemieux was the 5th man on the play, not even the 4th man.
3-2, the Soviets' lead has been cut down to. Rochefort shooting it in. Soviets try and clear it. Here's Mario Lemieux, to Claude Lemieux, and off his stick and over the glass and into the crowd.
Yeah, there's the big guy, Mario Lemieux.
Correction on Team Canada's second goal.
Yes, Mike Keenan, he's trying to keep his defense. They've changed the Messier, given Messier the assist. You know, Mario Lemieux, look at him at 21 years of age, beginning to demonstrate the intensity. Serge Savard said something. He said, I've never seen the guy play as intense a game as he did against the Swedes the other night. The thing that it takes a while to learn is day-to-day intensity in this game. Once you get that, you stay in the league a long time.
Here the Soviets breaking out. Kryakin trying to get through, does. Big save, Pure! On Kryakin, who had walked right through Team Canada's defense, and Pure comes up big. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Welcome to one of the
Well, Grant Pure may have come. History will tell us that. Up with the save of the night. It could have been disastrous as Kryakin cut right between Murphy and Rochefort. And Kryakin got a good shot away, but coolly picking it out of the air was Pure. That would have been spelled disaster considering the fact that Canada had just come, scored a goal that they desperately needed and could have.
Right now you're seeing a standing ovation for this man, Trachak, and that's quite a compliment when you're in Canada and in Hamilton, Ontario, to get a standing O, and Trachak just did.
I remember a New Year's Eve when Trachak played shutout the Montreal Canadiens as part of the Soviet national team that night. He got standing ovation after standing ovation that night from Montreal fans. He's loved in Canada much as he is in his own country, I think, for the things he's done in this game.
7:50 left in the second period. Canada with Anderson flipping it back of his own goal to Bork, around to Mike Gartner. Gartner flips it into center ice, and down the ice it goes into the Soviet zone. Bellow shaken, trying to whack it away from Messier. Got some help on the play from Larionov, and it's cleared to center. Now Gartner to Anderson. Anderson into Messier. Messier, wrist shot, Bellow shaken. Got a skate on that. Canada coming on strong. Gartner trying to hold it in, but as it's dropped back, Bork gets tied up. Has to clear it over onto the boards. Here comes Glenn Anderson. Anderson leaving it for Gartner. Shooting, Bellow shaken, save. Rebound, he didn't know where it was, as Anderson poked it just wide. Lead pass to Krutov. Crossman intercepting. Fired it back in off Sutter. And the Soviets, Spatisa flips it into center ice. Here's Paul Coffey into Gretzky. Gretzky to Sutter. Sutter couldn't get the shot off. Howard Chuck got tied up. And Krutov clears for the Soviets. Coffey for Canada to Gretzky. Into the zone, but intercepting it, Larionov, and now Kasatonov clears it. Hartsburg racing up on the play. Hartsburg jammed up, and Howard Chuck comes over to help out. To Paul Coffey. Coffey flipping it through. Kasatonov knocked it away. Soviets back on the attack. Trying to center it. In front of the net was Homatop, but he couldn't get a stick on it. It's Homatop still with Coffey tying him up. Now Kamensky in front. Bekhoff a whack at it. Here's Kamensky, number 13. Gretzky tied him up from behind. Coffey clearing it. Gusarov held it in, but now Sutter beats Coffey. Coffey to Gretzky. Cross ice pass. Howard Chuck moving in. Waits a little too long, trying to get it to Sutter, and Sutter was too well covered. Puck cleared in front. Beloshagan shot it away, and Bekhoff lost it to Gretzky. Now over to Rossmore. Bouncing puck. Rossmore a whack at it. Gretzky behind the net. Gets knocked down, and then the Soviet goal is dislodged, and we get another stoppage. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Well, some newfound aggression on the part of Team Canada. Good aggression. They're going in and forcing the play. Sutter running some interference right in front of the net there. That's on Stelnov. And then pinching in from the point is Rochefort. He gets a chance right at the side of the net. Here he comes, got a whack at it. That was deflected to the side of the net, and then Gretzky right in the middle of it along with Sutter. But you can see they're getting in front of that net now and getting some chances. Pretty good shift there by that line, Gretzky and Sutter.
Now it's Mario Lemieux with Propp on one wing, Claude Lemieux on the other, and breaking away the Soviets with Lomakin. Lomakin, number 23, gets tied up, and number 32, Claude Lemieux, dropping it back to Propp, now to Rochefort. Here's Larry Murphy, number 8 for Canada. Murphy trying to through, broken up by Fedotov. Held in by Claude Lemieux with a shot. Up high off the glass, Semyonov coming up with it, feeds Fedotov, number 14. Fedotov getting it ahead for Lomakin. He gets tied up, and Mario Lemieux back after it. Here's Mario Lemieux. Leaving it for Murphy. Murphy flips it in. Perpukin is there to clear it around. And the Soviets work it out nicely where Semyonov carries to center. Semyonov shot right on. You're the save. Semyonov taken out by Hartsburg. And Canada drop it behind the net where Gretzky takes over. And now Anderson got pulled down, but play goes right on. Here's Anderson again. Anderson getting it in. Fetisov is there. Lost it to Mario Lemieux. Drop pass to Gartner. Off the blocker of Beloshagan. And up into the crowd. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
4 minutes, 3 seconds.
Well, we mentioned that Claude Lemieux pays a bit of a price when he plays this game. He also gives a price. You play him, there's a little shot. They're holding onto his stick a little bit. Homalov. And off to the bench, and I'll take a little rest. As I say, he pays a dear price to pay the game, but he makes the other people pay as well. He never, ever fails to finish a check. It's one of the reasons why he's on this team.
4:03 left in the second period. Doug Gilmour winning a face-off, but the Soviets control it and clear at the center. Gartner knocks it down. He fires it back in. Fetisov there to pick it up. Gilmour almost stole it. And now it's carried out by the Soviets. Here's Perpukin. Perpukin. Priakin now in the corner. Can't center it. And Coffey has it. Here's Priakin again. And Coffey comes back for Canada to Gartner. Gartner battling on the boards with Perpukin. Now centered, nobody there, and Canada take over. Here's Anderson. Ahead to Gilmour. Gilmour takes the pass, but it's called back on a two-line offside, and the face-off will come into just inside Team Canada's blue line.
Well, you want to look at long shots making Team Canada. There's one, despite his 100 points last year. Doug Gilmore from Kingston, Ontario, played his junior hockey in Cornwall. He was a teammate of Dale Howard-Chuck for 1 year there. That Cornwall team won a Memorial Cup. He's become an excellent player, and you see a lot of them.
Night in, night out, he had an outstanding year last season. Great competitor. Here's Crossman for Canada. Flips it ahead to Claude Lemieux. He charges in. Bellow shaken out to clear it. Bourque holding it in. Shoots. Saved by Bellow shaken with that blocker again. Now Messier in the corner. Mark Messier. Held in by Prop. Claude Lemieux tried for the deflection, but was too well checked by Gusarov. Now Claude Lemieux battling Gusarov. Stelnov back of the net. Tries to clear it, and Makarov can't get it out of there. Makarov tries again. This time carries up. Makarov tied up by Messier, leaving it for Lariana. And Bourque is there defensively. He gives it to Doug Crossman. Crossman to Prop to Messier. Messier into Prop. Shoots up high and wide. Crossman at the point. Flips it in to Prop. Prop trying to get it in front. Gusarov cleared it. Now Brent Sutter. But intercepting is Fedotov. And the Soviets get it to center ice. Krutov, number 9. Leaving for Makarov. Moving in. Fuhrer a pad save on that as Makarov shot it right at him. Howard-Chuck trying to clear it. Here's Pervukin. To Lariana. Dropping it back, and Fedotov at the point misplayed it. Has to hustle back. Now Howard-Chuck picking it up into Brent Sutter. Sutter to Crossman. He missed it. And it's poked out of there by Krutov. And Canada has to go back. Coffey firing it into center ice. Sutter to Crossman. Into the zone. Yemchinov clears it back up. Canada controlling with Paul Coffey. Long pass to Gretzky. Gretzky to Brent Sutter. Sutter couldn't get the shot off. Pervukin ties him up. Now Brent Sutter gets mashed in against the boards by Pervukin. And the puck comes loose, and the Soviets carry out of there. Kamensky leaving it for Bekov. Shot blocked at the defense on a good play by Hartsburg. Right back the other way comes Gartner. Fakes the shot, trying to give it to Coffey. Bekov has it for the Soviets. Gets help from Kamensky. He gets knocked down by Gartner. Now Lemieux into Gartner in the corner. Held in by Murphy at the point. Murphy to Mario Lemieux. We're in the final minute of the second period. Coffey shot deflected. Here's Murphy pinching in. He gets bumped by Fetisov, who's lost his helmet. Canada center. Gartner panned out at the edge of the crease. And Homatov, number 15, fires it out for the Soviets. Bekov over onto the wing. Kamensky now centered. Bekov is there. A whack at it, but Mario Lemieux cleared it away. We're in the final minute as Claude Lemieux played it off the boards for Anderson. Glenn Anderson moving in, trying to leave it there. Now slides it to Mario Lemieux. He got it in front, but Kasatonov feeds it out. And here comes Svetlov. Dropping to Lomakin. Shoots one. That's deflected. Lomakin into the corner, gets ridden out. And we're going to get a penalty here against Canada and against Claude Lemieux, who now comes over and gives Lomakin a push, and high sticks him right back. And Lemieux has been cut and is down on the ice.
Well, Lemieux laid the cross-check on first, and then I think he was trying to get Lomakin to go off with him. And Lomakin, not very Soviet-like, retaliated, and the stick came down, and Lemieux is indicating at least that he's been cut. And I think probably he's talked the Soviet player into a penalty. We'll see what Noah says. There's the cross-check. That drew the penalty. Now he knows he's got the penalty. Now, turn around. Now he's going to give him a little shot as he steps up. Lomakin. Lomakin turns and brings the stick down. Now it's been a chippy kind of a game. Had fewer incidents in the second period than in the first. Lemieux is definitely getting a penalty. Both gates are open, so Lomakin retaliated, and so Lemieux did his job, I guess. Again, we'll see it. There's the cross-check. No doubt about that at all. And the hand of Noeth is up for the cross-check. Well, Lemieux, boy, he is a needler. I mean, you just love to hate him. Lemieux he just gets everybody angry. I've never heard, maybe Dale Hunter of the Quebec Nordiques, now of the Washington Capitals, gets people more upset than Claude Lemieux.
2 minutes for cross-checking.
Lemieux gets a cross-checking penalty.
50 seconds. La punition l'équipe Canada au numéro 32, Claude Lemieux. 2 minutes pour double échec à 19 minutes 50 secondes.
They've just announced the one penalty.
What's the referee's whistle here? I don't know. I think the stick did it. Although he's wearing a face mask. Watch the whistle. Watch the left hand of the referee. And we're watching the referee or the linesman there?
Kevin Collins, the linesman.
Collins, all right. Well, in any case. Anyway, the stick came down, and he's wearing a face mask. I don't know how he could have been cut with the stick coming down that way.
Now they're announcing the penalty to Lomac.
2 minutes for high sticking.
A high sticking penalty. So Lemieux did what he set out to do. He brought a guy out with him. All comes with 10 seconds left here in the second period, by the way.
Now, Tikhonov is going to be a little upset at Lomacan, who's a young player for this team. He's the one, by the way, Lomacan, who, if we ever get a shot of him, has got a 10-stitch cut across his face. That was from a slash across the face, a deliberate act by Gary Suter of Team USA, the Calgary Flames defenseman, who just really nailed him and threw a 5-minute major on the play.
Not going to get a shot of him here because he's already gone to the locker room.
There it is. Matter of fact, both have.
Canada in this period, by the way, have outshot the Soviets 13-8. But they're trailing 3-2.
See big Kazatonov there, and that's, of course, Fetisov at the bench. Boy, that guy seemed to lose his verve for the game. He was in a serious car accident in the off-season that killed his brother. He survived. He just didn't seem to be the same player for a couple of years. Boy, he's playing a great game tonight.
Each team will be a man short. 10 seconds left in the second period. 3-2, the Soviets leading. Semyonov against Messier on a face-off at Team Canada's blue line. And immediately the Soviets control. Stelnov to Gusarov. The Svetlov back to the defenseman Stelnov, who lets a long one go. Ure made the save, and right there the buzzer goes to end the second period. And after 2 periods, it is the Soviets 3, Team Canada 2 here at the Cops Coliseum in Hamilton. Stay with us for our intermission. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. 3-2. They had a 3-1 lead at one time. Third period underway. The clock is working, and we're watching each team play a man short because of the late penalties to Lemieux and Lomacan. Fedotov, number 14 for the Soviets. Now it's dropped back into the Soviet zone, and Svetlov, who's had a couple of goals for the Soviets tonight, to Perbukin. Now to Semyonov. Moving in to Svetlov. Sergei Svetlov, number 16. Trying to drop it back. Mario Lemieux broke it up, and Canada clear it to center ice. Perbukin there to pick it up. Now shot across onto the other wing. Canada's Gretzky clearing it in. This is Perbukin. Each team a man short, as we mentioned. Perbukin over to Fedotov. He's chased back in there by Mario Lemieux. Now rink wide to Perbukin. Into center ice. Bork knocking it down. Here's Bork for Canada. And a stick save by Beloshakin. Perbukin clears it. And the Soviets control back of their own net and work it to Fedotov. Long pass into center ice. Krutov picks it up for Makarov. Makarov right in. Fjord kicks that out. And then Crossman cleared it. And Bork has to cover up. Here's Raymond Bork. To Larry Murphy, number 8. Back to Glenn Anderson, shooting, he shot it just wide. Here's Murphy again. Intercepting was Kasatonov, and here's Fetisov, number 2 for the Soviets. Messier ties him up. Krutov leaves for Kasatonov. Penalized players back onside. Drop pass to Makarov. He tried to pass, and Messier intercepts to Claude Lemieux. Bello shaking away out to clear it, and Makarov gets it into center ice. Kamensky on the fly now in left wing. Couldn't get around Norman Rochefort. Puck loose in Canada's end. Claude Lemieux. And it's pinned there as Murphy fell, and we get a stoppage. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Now Victor Tikhonov on the left of your screen. He's been through this many, many times before. Mike Keenan, he hasn't been through this many, many times before. He is earning while you learn here. Doing a great job, though, putting a team together, keeping it together.
Here's Canada trying to break out. Claude Lemieux dropping it back to Craig Hartsburg. Canada trailing by a goal. They dump it in. Gusarov back to clear it. Claude Lemieux fanned on it. And now Hartsburg will chase back for Team Canada. Hartsburg and Rochefort on defense. Canada trailing 3-2. Here's Brian Brock. It's tied up with the referee, Noah. Oh, Rochefort cleared it into center ice. And it's cleared across to Igor Stelnov, number 4. Long shot, almost fooled Fuhr. Now Gilmore quickly clearing it out for Canada. Kasatonov to Stelnov. Back over onto the other wing. And trying to break out is Bekov, number 27. To Homotov. Back to Bekov. And Fuhr to the corner. Clears it up on the boards. Homotov knocking it down. Dropping it back. Shot is off a stick as Pervukin let it go, and it deflects up into the crowd. I'm not sure if that was Fuhr's stick or one of the defenders in front of the net.
You see it either. If you look at Stelnov, the veteran of the Central Army team, who has been sort of, you know, they say, first of all, his skating's not very good. You ever talk about a Soviet skater as not being a great skater. But he's part of the Olympic gold medal team, and Sarajevo, stay-at-home type defenseman. Kind of guy you don't hear an awful lot about. He's an unsung type.
Here's Fedotov trying to clear it out, and the Soviets come to center. And then Chinov, number 12, trying to go around Coffey, who rides him out. And Chinov getting it over onto the other side for Priyakin. Here's Sergei Priyakin. Crossman ties him up. Sutter back for Canada. Out to Howardchuk. And Dale Howardchuk feeds Paul Coffey. Now to Gretzky. Gretzky dropping it, but Priyakin was there to intercept. Priyakin, number 22. Lets a weak shot go wide. Coffey back for Canada. Tries to clear it. Howardchuk races after it. Fetisov is there. Fetisov for the Soviets. Loses to Gretzky. Gretzky shoots right on. Bello shaken with a save. Fetisov gave it up to Gretzky, and you don't see him do that often. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Mentioned that Fetisov is playing a pretty good game here. One of the best I've seen him play in a couple of years. But well, lots of guys have made this mistake with Wayne Gretzky around. Gretzky just has a way of smelling those things out. And produced a pretty good scoring chance.
Face-off deep in the Soviet zone. Semyonov against Mario Lemieux, and Semyonov clears it to Fetisov. Out to Lomakin, and now back in the corner, an injured player. Semyonov with the Soviets down on the ice.
I didn't see that either, but he got raped out there. Maybe we'll get a chance to see it here. Claude Lemieux is right there. Here he comes. Oh, I tell you, he pays a price. He makes you pay a price, as we've said before. And right there, Anatoly Semyonov, Soviet All-Star center in 1985, and a great skater. Lemieux. offensive side of the game. Semyonov a bit shaken by all of that. Speaking of injuries, we should mention that Rick Tocchet hasn't played since early in the second period. He is out with a knee injury, as if Mike Keenan doesn't have enough trouble. He's finished for the night, but we haven't got a final diagnosis on it. And with the injuries he's going to undergo now, he's playing a man short as it is tonight.
A couple of other forwards were unable to suit up, Kevin Dineen and Michel Goulet. So they're undermanned up front. Here's Krutov. Head manning it for Makarov, number 24. Hartsburg trying to tie him up. Makarov centered. Kasatonov, but it's tipped away on a good play by Glenn Anderson defensively. Shot ahead. Rochefort couldn't get it. Now Anderson stick handling in, but Fetisov is there for the Soviets. Juk Krutov. Back for Fetisov. That's Gartner back checking. Takes Fetisov out, and Messier feeding to Glenn Anderson. Into center ice to Hartsburg. Hartsburg fires it in. Shot away. Krutov trying to get it. Pokes it to Makarov. And Larry Murphy takes over for Canada at his own blue line. To Rochefort. Now back to Murphy. Flipped in by Canada. Mario Lemieux in. Knocks a man down. Centered. Another Soviet player down and injured. Here's Murphy centering. Gusarov cleared it. Murphy again. Shot hit Fetisov. Now in behind the net. Drop for Canada. Centered it. Claude Lemieux a whack at it. And Bekov breaks away for the Soviets. Bekov moving in. Shoots. Kick save. Rebound. Bounced off a man. Right back into the goal crease. Fior had to stop that too. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
There's Big Fetisov on the bench. Close call after he lost his stick. That's Mario Lemieux who got him in up against the board. Seemed to jab him perhaps. He took a heavy fall right there. Gets back up as he realizes that play is still going on inside the zone. And the puck's going to come back out. Watch his left foot here as he plays soccer. Kick save. Goaltender couldn't have done it better.
14:02 left in the third period. Soviets 3, Canada 2. Bekov against Brent Sutter in the Canada zone. And it's won by Canada. Here's Gretzky to Sutter. Homotop took him out. Sutter clearing it in. Bellow shaken. Leaves it there for Stelnov. Off the boards. Picked up by Kamensky. Trying to drop it back to Homotop. Gretzky back checking. Knocked it away. Homotop to Kamensky. Number 13, Valery Kamensky. Can't get it centered, and Sutter fires it into center ice for Howardchuk. Takes over and flips it in. Going back to Stelnov, number 4. Up the middle to Bekov. Now Kamensky to Bekov. Can't get across the blue line. Kamensky fires it in. Rochefort is there. Rochefort up the middle, picked up by Gretzky to Gartner. Gartner leaves for Gretzky. Gretzky flipped it in front. Bellow shaken, cleared it. Gretzky put it through the crease. Rochefort moving in to Gretzky. Out in front, chipped away by the Soviet defense. And then shot down the ice by Bekov. It'll be icing. No, it won't be as Fior touches it. And Pervukin is there to break a play up. Into center ice for Pryakin. Now Gartner for Team Canada trying to get away from Kimelev. Now being whacked at by Nemchinov. Puck loose in center ice. Here's Bourque. Canada changing on the play. Bourque passes to Doug Gilmour. He took a hit but tipped it in. Now Gilmour getting the puck loose. He gets knocked down. Puck still in play back of the net. Soviets trying to shoot it. Held in a drive off the shoulder of Bellow shaken. Or off his mask, I'm not sure which. And up into the crowd.
I guess we could run a clinic on hitting and being involved just on Claude Lemieux in this game. Lemieux just in the middle of everything here tonight. Boom, that's Pervukin. Now he gets it again, takes a shot. He's not going to give up at that point as Nemchinov gets him. So, follow Lemieux. the head of goaltender Bieloshakin and up into the crowd. Oh, he just keeps stirring it up.
And he stays out there with Mario Lemieux at center, Prop on the other wing. 12:08 to play. Claude Lemieux for the Montreal Canadiens. Here he is again, back of the net. Got it in front. But it's Fetisov breaking away. To Lomakin, number 23. He's checked and Larry Murphy intercepts. To Mario Lemieux. Over for Prop, but knocked back out. Murphy is there. And it's offside at the Soviet blue line. You mentioned the latest injury to Canada. By the way, Prop was rather doubtful for tonight's game with some kind of injury too. Gretzky, Anderson, and Howard-Chuck up front for Canada. They're against the Soviet line of Larionov, Krutov, and Makarov. And here's Krutov to Larionov. Crossman trying to tie him up. Now broken up at the blue line by Canada. Here's Anderson. Fetisov stepped into him and got the worst of that as he lost his helmet. Kasatonov now trying to clear it. Comes in front, and here's Fetisov, who for the second time in the game has had his helmet knocked off. To Larionov, to Fetisov. Fetisov to Kasatonov. Cutting in, backhander, he shot it just wide. Crossman, back of the net, runs into Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck trying to fire it out of there. And going back is Stelnov, number 4. Igor Stelnov. Dropping it for Gusarov. Now to Makarov, he's checked. Makarov again. Couldn't get around Murphy. Bekoff in to try and get it. Canada clear it. Stelnov held it in. Bekoff has it. Over to Gusarov. Murphy takes him out. Soviets trying to center out in front. Was Kamensky, but his shot was blocked. And Canada clear it to center ice. Bekoff back to get it. Homotov now controlling. To Stelnov. Over to Gusarov. Into center ice. Homotov, number 15, to Bekoff, number 27. Trying to leave it for Kamensky. Now Bekoff a shot anyway. Here's Kamensky. In front. Cleared by Pure. Murphy able to clear it out of there. Soviets lead 3-2. Stelnov to Homotov. Now Tenamchina shoots one off the blocker or glove of Pure, and Canada now start out of there. Here's Rossbourg to Sutter. Sutter dumping it in. Sutter digs in. Taken out in the corner by Nemchina, and the Soviets quickly clear it out of there. Hartsburg back for Canada. Here's a loose puck taken by Perbukin. Dropped back to his own line for Dodotov. Dodotov up on left wing. The number 8, Himalev. And Pure stops it back of the net. Rossbourg for Canada. Leaving it for Hartsburg. Quickly to Gartner. Now to Gretzky. Gretzky moving in. Drop pass back. Anderson shoots. Bieloshakin the save. Dives up to cover up the rebound. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's Bobby Hull way up in the crowd there, getting a good hand from the fans. A couple of great saves worth a hand as well. First of all, Bieloshakin right in front of the net, just gloving it, and he has to dive out and grab that one. That was the one that caused the whistle. Prior to that, Grant Pure made a pretty good play in his own right down at the other end with that glove hand of his. So the goaltenders have been the story here in this game. It's 3-2. The Soviet Union leading Canada.
9:05 to play. A win or a tie would wrap up first place for Canada. Here's Lomakin, number 23. Soviets must win to finish first. Now centering pass to Semyonov, number 30. Trying to get it in front. Semyonov again. On the boards. Into the corner for Fetisov. Out in front, and now play is called in front of the net. Crossman got tangled up in front of the goal with the Soviet player. I think it was Kryakin. And we're going to get a penalty here. Actually, it was Lomakin. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
The fellow with the rather bemused look there is Viktor Tikhonov, the head coach of the Soviet Union. One of his players has just picked up a slashing penalty, Lomakin, right in front of the net. There's a bit of a scramble out in front there. Lomakin, number 23, involved, and well, obviously might know it. Look over from over in the corner, had a view there, but Mr. Tikhonov didn't have, and I didn't have.
Well, I'm cheering for Canada, but that was ridiculous. Anyway, Canada on a power play with Lomakin in the penalty box. Here's Casatona firing it off the boards and down the ice. Muir clears it up. Messier knocks it back to the net. Canada with the man advantage. Bourque giving it to Messier. Messier to Gretzky. Over on the boards, and Semyonov intercepts and flips it down the ice. That's Bourque giving it to Coffey. Canada with the power play. Coffey fires it in. Here's Coffey holding it in. Shot right on. Messier just missed the rebound, and Krutov breaks out for the Soviets. Krutov checked by Gretzky. Now Lemieux carries in, but Messier was already in ahead of the play offside.
Great work in the center ice zone by Wayne Gretzky. Hooked that puck free, and Messier cruising just inside the line caused the offside. That's still a pretty good-looking power play out there with Gretzky and Lemieux and Messier and Coffey and Bourque. Gretzky doing an awful lot of work out there.
Canada's 1 for 3, by the way, tonight on the power play. The Soviets have not had a power play opportunity.
And considering the rather robust way that Canada has played this game, and I think that's polite, I think that it is rather strange. Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux now coming off the ice, and I think we've got a timeout being called at 7:46 remaining in the period. Here's a scoring chance in front now. Right in front, there's Messier. As everybody over skates it, and Krutov turns with it. Good chance right in front of that net. Some good traffic, getting people in, of course, to cause some interference. So Team Canada has called a timeout at a critical time here during the power play with 1:02 left in the power play situation. Lomakin in the penalty box. They'd like to get a goal here. They'd need a tie or a win will clinch first place for Canada. A skate blade being worked upon down in the bench area. Maybe a new blade for Gretzky. That's the reason for the timeout. Gretzky was the one who came over to the bench first, and want him to finish this power play if he can. Well, he is for the old days, you'd have to go in the dressing room and take it off and have a new edge put on it, or get the practice skates. And once you're breaking in, go out and play on those.
Even the trainers use modern science today.
Oh.
Still 1:02 left in the penalty to the Soviets. Lomakin. Messier ready for a face-off with Krutov at the Soviet line. Won by Canada and controlled by Bourque. Bourque and Coffey the point men with Gretzky, Lemieux, and Messier up front. Gretzky fires it in. Beloshakin firing it up on the boards. Gretzky has it. Gretzky shoots. Beloshakin pad save. Now Lemieux and Krutov in the corner. Around to Gretzky. Gretzky to Lemieux. Band on it. Coffey at the point. Into the corner to Gretzky. Gretzky trying to get it in front. Messier is there, but well covered. Gretzky still with it. Now spots Bourque. They score from behind the net, I believe. No goal, says Noah.
Well,
Gretzky's
right
shot seemed to carry him and go to the goal line, but not in, apparently.
We can't even see it from our angle either. The referee was standing right at the line. See, as they try to jam it out in front now. Gretzky throwing it out in front, and looking behind him was Beloshakin, but that angle doesn't tell us anything. Messier thought thought it was in the net. I think he was going to try. Look where the referee is standing right there. He has got the, there it is. There you see the puck. Right there, underneath, between the legs of Stelnov, the defenseman. This will afford us, I think, a better view. Again, he's just trying to force it out. There it comes out. It went off the skate of Gusarov there and then under his pad. So you can see where Noah was. He had an absolutely good view of it.
24 seconds left in Lomakin's penalty. Gretzky on the faceoff. Canada trailing 3-2. Gretzky to Coffey. Over on the boards to Bork. Back to Coffey. Shooting. That deflects off Bekov and goes up high into the crowd.
12 seconds left in the power play now. Bekov blocking that one beautifully. And again, when you start to tee it up, don't get that shot in there quickly enough. You allow good skaters to get in the way. Here's a big slap shot, and Bekov was there to sprawling to knock it high up into the crowd.
Bekov, a little guy at 5'8", 155 pounds. He's out there for this face-off with Messier. 12 seconds left in the penalty. 6:56 left in the game. 3-2 Soviets. On the face-off, Messier getting it. And unable to hold it in was Bork, and he has to backtrack. Bork to Coffey. Coffey spins away from a check. Paul Coffey, penalized player Lomakin back on, and the Soviets fire it out of there. Bekov racing after it, but Fuhr came out to the blue line. Cleared it. Now Canada break away. Here's Gretzky. In with Lemieux. Gretzky to Mario Lemieux. Tipped away. Held in by Bork. To Gretzky. Pass was behind Lemieux, and Homatov starts back. But now back to the play. Did somebody grab the linesman,
Somebody grabbed Kevin Collins at the bench, and whistle went at that point. There's going to be a penalty, and it's going to be a bench penalty.
This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Well, there you see the discussion right now. Now watch to the far left of your screen. That's Kevin Collins up against the boards there, and he is about to be grabbed by Tikhonov. And an unsportsmanlike penalty has been called. Now, Tikhonov likes to stress discipline. He made a terrible act of undiscipline right there, and he has been nailed for it. You don't touch an official. I don't care where you are. And Kevin Collins, as soon as he was grabbed, blew the whistle and called the penalty himself. Now, we're not sure it was Tikhonov. It could have been one of the players. Tikhonov was right there. Let's see again, if we can, what happened. Same view. See if we can see somebody reaching out there. There was a player. There was a player, and Tikhonov's there as well. And you can see Kevin Collins reacting. He has called the penalty.
They're over there explaining it to the Soviet bench about why the penalty is.
He knows very well why the penalty is. He's had a tough night. I'll tell you, there have been some penalties called in this game and some that haven't been called. And Gord Rossiger in the middle of that now, along with Noah. Well, a certain discussion about the Finnish referee the other night in the game involving the U.S., but there'll be some discussion about this one, too. We'll take a break right now as the argument rages. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Attendance for tonight's game.
Well, Tikhonov is going to make his point, well, before play resumes. I can't believe he's the one that grabbed it. I have to think a player.
He seems to have injured his finger anyway.
Number 13.
Yeah, maybe his own player to tell him to desist.
Kamensky will serve the penalty, by the way, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. 6:20 to play in Canada with another power play right here. Canada 1 for 4 with the power play tonight. 6 play. Now you see 6:17. And Canada with the man advantage, trailing 3-2. Here's Messier. Dropping it back for Bourque. Ray Bourque to Messier. Makarov intercepts. Krutov trying to break away. Coffey the only man back. Krutov to Makarov, who was open but couldn't get the pass. Makarov over to Krutov. Soviets have already scored a shorthanded goal tonight. Now it's Bourque. Ray Bourque to Gretzky, cleared in. Back to get it and clearing it, Gusarov. Held in by Bourque, into Gretzky. Gretzky trying to center. And it's intercepted by Stelnov. Fired out to Krutov. A minute left in the Soviets penalty. Krutov in across the line. Mario Lemieux knocks it away. Now Makarov to Kasatonov, who drops it to Fetisov. Fetisov for the Soviets. Skated off by Anderson, and Glenn Anderson takes over. Off the boards to Gretzky. Kasatonov and Gretzky to the corner. Kasatonov took him out. Flips it up on the boards. Coffey pinching in. But Semyonov gets it. And cleared it away past Coffey. Here's a break. He has Svetlov with him, but Coffey gets back to break it up. Svetlov now dropping it back to Kasatonov. And some great penalty killing here by the Soviets. Svetlov moves in. And he just fires it back down to Fetisov. And that will kill off the rest of the penalty. As Kamensky is back on. And the Soviets killed it off brilliantly. Now Murphy for Team Canada. Out to Sutter on right wing. Sutter flipping it through. For Buchan there for the Soviets to fire it right back out. And it bounces down the ice. Murphy back to get it. No icing on the play, so Murphy starts to carry up, now drops it to Glenn Anderson. Less than 4 minutes to play. 3-2 the Soviets. No overtime, remember, in the Canada Cup competition. It'll just go into the books as a tie. And right now, that's what Canada's hoping for. They're trailing by a goal. Here's a loose puck taken by Anderson. Cutting in. And a diving defensive play made to break that up by number 14, Fedotov. And then we get a stoppage as the Soviet player has fallen on the puck. And some sticks go up high down in the corner.
And right in the middle of that is Fetisov, the big fella, who has been in a brawl. He was involved with Jimmy Johnson of the Pittsburgh Penguins in a game with the United States a couple of years ago at the World Hockey Tournament. Wound up with some suspensions. Glenn Anderson skating much better in this game as he tries to go around. And he is upended, the goaltender, and maintains his balance and stays with the play. Shots on goal, Canada 10, the Soviets 4, but the quality, this is a deceptive one because the quality of shots, I don't think in this period for Canada have been all that great. This is one of those situations where you can't say that Canada outplayed the Soviets by a 10-4 margin.
And they've had a couple of back-to-back power play situations. 3:29 to play. On the face-off, Stelnov coming up with it. Out on right wing for Priakin, number 22. Bourque checks him. Bourque firing it in. Mario Lemieux digs in after it. Quads right behind him. Mario Lemieux comes up with it. Lemieux. Number 66 for Canada. Long reach. Look at that stick work. Gets it in front. Claude Lemieux can't get the shot off. He was tied up. And Priakin comes back. Less than 3 minutes to play. Priakin upended by Murphy. And the puck will wind up underneath Sergei Priakin. And we'll get a stoppage. And they'll move the faceoff outside Team Canada's blue line. 2:47 left in the third period.
Priakin looking up at the referee as if to say, well, what about this now? Did he not, or did he not throw Halney down? I'd have to say he did haul him down. No penalty called.
And to make matters worse, they moved the faceoff outside the blue line because Bryakin fell on top of the puck.
A frustrating night for the Soviets, except one thing. The redeeming thing is that they lead on the scoreboard on a shorthanded goal.
If the Soviets win, they finish first in the round robin and would play Czechoslovakia. Canada would finish second and meet Sweden. Meanwhile, a tie or a victory would mean Canada would finish first, and they would play Czechoslovakia in the semifinal on Wednesday night in Montreal. And the Soviets would have to play Sweden, and the Soviets already lost to Sweden. Here's Canada controlling. Fired into center ice to Messier. Over to Crossman. Doug Crossman moving in, centers, Messier. Fired it in front. Oh, Anderson almost scored. A shot, they score! Crossman ties this game up.
Look at the bench empty. Everybody off the bench. Boy, this has been a hard uphill struggle. It hit the post first, right behind him. Good effort there, but it went right through, hit the post right there. Now it goes in. Crossman got it.
Well, I don't know if Crossman got it or did Gretzky put it in before Crossman got there.
All right, we'll watch it again. Gretzky going for the net there. Here it comes. Anderson reaches out, throws it in there. Now it's lying loose. It was Gretzky who got the goal. Crossman was there, but Gretzky reached for it.
2:27 left. Canada has tied it on a goal by Wayne Gretzky.
Number 2, Doug Crossman.
Well, that'll be changed, I think. The replays demonstrate that Gretzky got the puck before Crossman got there. So Wayne Gretzky
15 minutes, 33 seconds.
picks up his second point of this game.
Well, they announced it as being scored by Crossman, but I'm sure Gretzky, now they change it to Gretzky.
Just announced it as Gretzky. So the scorers had to look at the replays.
Assistant on number 2, Doug
2:27 to play when Gretzky tips it in to tie this game at 3. Gretzky from Crossman and Anderson at 17:33. Gretzky's second goal of this Canada Cup.
So Gretzky now has, of course, taken over the lead in the scoring in this tournament. 10 points already in 5 games.
A tie would do it for Canada. Remember, no overtime. It'd just be a tie, and Canada would finish first and play Czechoslovakia Wednesday night in a semifinal game at the Montreal Forum. Here's Gretzky stealing. To Howard Chuck, who was open but couldn't control it. Now Gretzky out in front, stick handling in. Couldn't get the shot off center to Murphy. Bellows shaking a big save after some great playmaking again by number 99.
Well, I don't know whether it was 99 catching fire or the Soviets a little down right now. A little loose in their own zone, having their problems. Shaken with that butterfly style of his, and he seems to be on the limp a bit. Great move by Gretzky. Maintained possession. Out there, I think Shaken may have twisted his knee. And then he righted himself and made the save on Murphy. But watch Shaken. He's off balance here as Gretzky went behind the net. Now he gets up. And right there, he turned the wrong way, and I think he may have wrenched the knee a little bit. He turned up on the limp. But he's all right. He'll stay in the game. Came up with a big save. Right now, the Soviets have to try and come back. They want to, the only thing they can do in order to get first place is win this game. They can't settle for a tie.
Canada led by 1 point coming in the standings, so all they would need would be a tie to wrap up first place. And it's tied now. Less than 2 minutes to play. Kamensky breaks away. Kamensky cuts in, Pure the save. Rebound, the net was knocked off. Beckhoff fired it into the net after it had been knocked loose. And play is called, and there's no goal.
Well, they play the net about 15 feet askew. That would have been a goal. The shot would have missed the net completely. Good play right in front of the net there as Kamienski moved in. But when he tried to cut around the goalpost, he was pushed in there by Crossman. And I think that may be Kamienski. No, it's a Team Canada player. It's down. Gretzky. Well, and I don't know what happened there. Anytime you see that, you start to break into a cold sweat. We'll see if we can see what happened in front of the net. Gretzky there is upended in front. There he is. He's knocked down, and then the shot came in, and he just seemed to be turned around on the play. Knocked the wind out of him a bit.
Well, they further changed the tying goal. Gretzky from Anderson and Messier in the scoring play. 17:33 the time. 1:38 left. No overtime, folks. It's tied at 3. Canada just needing a tie to wrap up first place. Omotov giving it across to Gusarov. Now down the right wing side. There's a quick shot by Kamienski. It's wide of the target. Canada break out of there. Here's Messier. Over to Bourque. Bourque flipping it in. Soviets go back. That's Stelnov. Anderson in to tie him up. Shot. Bellow shaking the save. 1 minute left in the third period. Canada needing just a tie to finish first. Here's Stelnov. Drops it to Gusarov. Up the middle for Krutov. Soviets on the attack. Makarov. Makarov, number 24. Centered. Kazatonov and Rochefort blocked that shot. Kazatonov really teed it up. What a good block by Rochefort. Now Sutter holding it against the boards with Larionov. 32 seconds left.
Pulling the goaltender is not something that is done much in international hockey, although we saw it done the other night for the Czechoslovakian game. Biela shaken down in the goal crease area. Now they need the win in order to clinch first place, but I have a feeling he's going to stay in the net. We'll see.
If it ends this way, Canada would play Czechoslovakia Wednesday night in Montreal. The Soviets would play Sweden here in Hamilton on Tuesday in the other semifinal. Buck shot in. And Makarov drops it back. Fetisov with 20 seconds left. Fetisov can't get away from Mike Gartner. Gartner in for checking. Knocks it on the boards. Here's Propp to Gartner. Gartner from behind the net trying to swoop it in. Bellow shaking a save. Look at Gartner. Work hard. 4 seconds left. Fetisov cleared it. This game is over. Canada and the Soviets tie 3-3. And that's the way the final game of the round-robin tournament winds up here in Hamilton. Canada will play Czechoslovakia Wednesday night in Montreal. The Soviets and Sweden will play in the other semifinal here in Hamilton on Tuesday night.
Soviets did not want to play Sweden. It's the one thing they didn't want. They lost to them in the first game of this tournament, and they lost to them, or at least were tied by them, and lost the World Championship to them back at the World Championships in Vienna earlier this year. And there are the final standings of the preliminary round of the Canada Cup, and Canada runs through it undefeated with 2 ties, an opening tie against Czechoslovakia, and a final tie here, 3-3 tonight.
Canada outshot the Soviets 16-5 in the third period. And the game ends 3-3. Let's go to the ice surface at our post-game ceremonies.
For the Soviet Union team, who will receive a Canon EOS camera, is number 16, Sergei Svetlov. The Labatt player of the game for Team Canada, who will receive the complete set of 10 1988 Olympic Winter Game coins, courtesy of Canadian Tire, is number 11, Mark Messier. Hockey Canada and Labatt, thank you for your...
The final score, Canada 3, the Soviet Union 3 here in Hamilton. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
Over 17,000 fans at Cox Coliseum in Hamilton watch a 3-3 tie between the Soviet Union and Canada. Actually, a bit of an uphill battle for the Canadians. Grant Fuhr was perfect in the first period, faced 16 shots by the Soviets, and many of them were quality. Finally, the Soviets broke through in a 7-minute span in the second period to build a 3-1 lead, but Canada showed grit in coming back for the tie. It's Canada on Wednesday. We'll see the Soviets on Tuesday.